I never thought I'd wake up screaming in a body that wasn't mine, staring into eyes that used to be my own, cold, calculating, and utterly foreign now. My father's voice echoed in my skull that morning, not as a memory, but as a goddamn intruder, his gravelly laugh bubbling up from my throat like poison. And, in that split second, as the world tilted on its axis, I realized the Harrington Empire wasn't built on innovation, it was forged in stolen souls. Starting with mine. The rain hammered the penthouse windows like it was trying to break in, matching the storm raging inside me. I'd always known Dad's company, Harrington Biotech, was a beast, $500 million in valuation. Headquartered in the glass jungle of Midtown Manhattan, churning out neural implants and gene therapies that made Wall Street drool. But I was the dutiful daughter, Savannah Harrington, 28 and fresh off an MBA from Wharton, groomed to take the reins. Or so I thought. That illusion shattered 6 months ago, when the board promoted me to a vague strategic oversight role, code for sidelining the heir apparent. Dad, Victor Harrington, silver fox with a shark smile, patted my shoulder in the boardroom, his Rolex glinting under the fluorescence, and said, "You're too soft for the kill, kiddo. Leave the blood to me." Blood. He'd always thrown that word around like confetti at a 4th of July barbecue, but I never imagined it meant this. It started with the whispers. Late nights scrolling through encrypted files on my laptop, fueled by black coffee from that overpriced spot in Chelsea Market. I'd hacked into the company's R&D server, nothing fancy. Just a backdoor I'd planted during my internship, back when I was still the golden child. What I found buried in the subfolders wasn't the next big Alzheimer's cure. It was Project Echo, neural transference protocols. Mind uploads. Body swaps. Not sci-fi bullshit, but real. Tested on volunteers, homeless vets from the Bowery, undocumented workers vanishing from Queens sweatshops. Dad's pet project. Greenlit in 18, right after his first heart scare. The goal? Immortality for the 1%. Swap your fading husk into a fresh one, courtesy of Harrington Biotech. No FDA approval needed if you bury the bodies deep enough. I confronted him that night in his office. The one with the floor-to-ceiling views of the Empire State Building lit up like a Christmas tree on steroids. "This is murder, Dad," I said, slamming printouts on his mahogany desk. He didn't even blink. Just swirled his scotch, Macallan 25, because why not, and leaned back in his leather throne. "It's evolution, Savannah. The weak make way for the strong. You want in, or you want out?" Out. That was my mistake. I stormed off to my Soho loft, vowing to blow the whistle. Called my lawyer buddy from Penn Law, set up a meet with a Times reporter. But by dawn, I was waking up in a hospital bed in some nondescript clinic in the Bronx, tubes snaking into arms that weren't mine, thicker, calloused, veins bulging like they'd seen too many 9-to-5s. The mirror in the recovery room was my first clue. Rough skin, mid-40s stubble, a paunch straining against the gown. I was in Marcus Hale's body. Marcus, the facilities guy who disappeared last month after complaining about overtime. And when the door swung open, there I was, my own face, my lithe 5 feet 7 inches frame in scrubs, smirking with Dad's trademark tilt of the head. "Welcome to the new you, sweetheart," my voice said from my lips. Not mine anymore. His. Victor Harrington had echoed himself into me. Swapped us like faulty hard drives. "You were always too idealistic. Time to toughen up the family brand." The betrayal hit like a freight train out of Penn Station. This wasn't just corporate greed, it was erasure. My life, my identity, poof. Gone to prop up his ego, his legacy. The Harrington name, plastered on galas at the Met, scholarships at NYU, that glossy Forbes profile calling him the visionary reshaping humanity. All built on lies, on souls like Marcus's, funneled through black market donors. I'd borne the weight of his sins my whole life, covering for his affairs with interns, fudging expense reports for IRS audits, smiling through the rumors of disappearances at company retreats in the Hamptons. But this, stealing my body to chase eternity, that was the line he torched. They kept me sedated for days. Marcus's body hooked to monitors in that windowless hellhole. Nurses with dead eyes, probably on payroll, muttering about post-op recovery, but I played possum, mind racing like a subway at rush hour. Dad, in my skin, paraded Savannah at investor calls, her voice, mine, pitching echo as a therapeutic breakthrough. The board ate it up, stock ticked up 3% overnight. Meanwhile, I pieced it together from stolen glances at charts. The swap wasn't perfect. Echo left echoes, residual neural bleed. Flashes of the donor's life seeping in. Marcus had a kid in foster care, a wife who'd OD'd on fentanyl 2 years back. Guilt. Rage. A lifetime of scraping by in the shadows of our empire. It fueled me. When the guard slipped up, too much Nick's game on his phone, I bashed his head with enforced stand and bolted. Out on the streets, Marcus's beat-up work boots pounding Bronx pavement, I felt the city's pulse like never before. No more doorman at my loft. Now it was dodging rats in alleyways. Panhandling for a burner phone at a bodega on Fordham Road. But I had advantages. Echo's glitch meant I retained chunks of my old self memories. Smarts, that Wharton-honed bullshit detector. And Marcus? He'd been the whistleblower before me, logging complaints about weird shipments in the basement labs. His locker, still untouched, had a USB drive with photos, cryopods stacked like cordwood, donor files with redacted names. Real names. Real lives. I holed up in a flop house off Jerome Avenue. The kind where the walls thrum with salsa from the apartment next door, and the air smells like fried plantains and regret. First order, allies. I hit up Lena, Marcus's estranged sister, via a library computer. She met me in a dingy diner in Yonkers, eyeing this stranger in her brother's skin like I was a ghost. He called me last week, she said, stirring sugar into her coffee till it drowned. Said he was onto something big at work. Harringtons, those bloodsuckers. I told her everything, body swap be damned. Truth serum via cheap whiskey shots. Her eyes widened, but not with shock. Recognition. Marcus always said that place was cursed. Took Ma's cousin too. Back in 20. Vanished after a voluntary trial. Lena became my lifeline. Ex-cop. Tough as the leather jacket she wore. With contacts in the NYPD's cold case unit. Off the books. Since Harrington donations greased too many palms. She smuggled me clothes that fit this bulkier frame. A fake ID as Mark Hale, and a Glock she'd found in evidence lockup. Revenge ain't clean. Save, she drawled, Bronx accent thick as fog. You sure you want this smoke? I nodded, feeling Marcus's ghosts cheering me on. Controversial? Hell yes. Vigilante justice in a city that chews up the little guy. But Dad had made me the little guy. Time to flip the script. We started small. Infiltrating the fringes. I posed as a day labor, landing a gig at a Harrington warehouse in Red Hook. Ironic. Shipping crates marked medical supplies that rattled with what I knew were neural scanners. Late shifts. I snapped pics, manifests listing asset transfers to offshore clinics in the Caymans. Lena's cop buddy, Rico, ran plates linked to shell companies Dad used for mistresses and money laundering. The deeper we dug, the uglier it got. Echo wasn't just swaps, it was a network. Elites, senators, tech bros, even a couple Hollywood has-beens lining up for youth in a bottle. Donors? Pulled from Rikers, overflow, migrant caravans, anyone the system forgot. My father wasn't the founder. He was the fucking architect. But the real gut punch came 2 weeks in. Hold up in Lena's walk-up. Poring over files. A name jumped out. Elena Vasquez. My mother. Dead since I was 12. Heart attack in our Hamptons estate. Official story. Stress from Dad's affairs. But the donor log? Echo Trial 001. She discovered his early experiments, back-alley gene hacks on lab rats that went south. Confronted him. Like I did. He swapped her into a junkie off the Lower East Side. Let the overdose take her out clean. I bore that lie. The perfect orphan daughter. Toasting mom at galas with a flute of Veuve. All while her soul rotted in a gutter. Rage boiled over. I put a bullet in a safe house wall that night, the bang echoing like thunder in that shoebox apartment. Lena pulled the gun away, her grip iron. Channel it, girl. Or it'll eat you. She was right. Revenge needed finesse, not fury. We plotted. Leak the files to the press. But timed. Hit the board first, poison their trust. I remembered faces from board meetings, smug pricks in Brooks Brothers. Golfing at Winged Foot on weekends. One stood out, Dr. Elias Crow, Dad's right hand, the neurosurgeon who'd pioneered Echo. Bite. Bespectacled, with a laugh like breaking glass. He'd signed off on my swap personally. The decision was controversial as hell. Frame Crow for embezzlement. Using Marcus's access logs. Plant digital breadcrumbs. Forged emails from his account to Cayman banks. Risky if it backfired. I'd be the fall guy in this meat suit. But it worked. 2 days later. Headlines screamed, Harrington exec in fraud probe. Stock dipped 8%. Dad, in my body, fumed on CNBC. Savannah's face flushed, my old poise cracking. I watched from a sports bar in Harlem, nursing a bud, feeling a twisted thrill. This was just foreplay. As the empire wobbled, I got closer. Lena scored me a maintenance uniform. I slipped into the Midtown Tower during a fire drill, chaos of suits fleeing like rats from a sinking ship. Elevators to sublevel 7. The black heart of Harrington. Guards were lax, distracted by the drill. The lab hummed, sterile white, banks of servers whirring like cicadas in July. Cryopods lined the walls, frosted glass hiding silhouettes. I found mine, Marcus's original shell, withered on a gurney, monitors flatlining. My old body, upstairs, probably sipping lattes. That's when Crow cornered me, pistol in his manicured hand, eyes gleaming behind specs. Hail, or should I say, Miss Harrington? Echoes not flawless. We tracked the neural signature. He monologued, villain style, Dad's influence, about necessary sacrifices for progress. I lunged, grapple turning into a brawl amid beeping consoles. Controversial choice. I didn't kill him. snapped his arm, zip-tied him to a pod, and downloaded the master drive. Everything logs, videos of swaps, Mom's file. As alarms wailed, I vanished into the service tunnels, reeking of bleach and victory. Back in the flop, files burning a hole in my laptop. The plan crystallized. Full exposure, upload to WikiLeaks. Tag every journo from the Post to ProPublica. But Dad anticipated. A call on the burner, my own voice. Silky now with menace. Come home, Savannah. We can swap back. Family first. Laughter. Hollow. He knew I had the drive. Offered a truce. Co-run the empire. Your ethics. My vision. Tempting, in a twisted way. Power. My face back. But Mom's ghost whispered no. The climax brewed over a week of cat and mouse. Hit squads, private security in unmarked SUVs, tailed Lena's beat-up Civic through Queens. We shook M in Flushing, ducking into a dim-sum joint where steam veiled our escape. I hit back, anonymous tips to SEC. IRS. Raids hit the tower, feds swarmed like ants on a picnic. Dad went underground, Savannah jetting to a safe house in the Adirondacks. I followed, Lena at the wheel, snow falling like ash outside Albany. We breached the cabin at midnight, log walls, stone fireplace crackling. He was there, in my body, scotch in hand, looking vulnerable in flannel. You always were the fighter, he said, my lips curling. The confrontation was raw, accusations flying. Mom's betrayal laid bare. She was collateral, he shrugged. Like you almost were. I had the drive, one upload, and it all crumbled. But the controversial pivot, offer the swap back. Let him rot in Marcus's corpse. Me reclaiming my skin. Mercy or trap? He lunged desperate. My old gymnast Grace turned feral. We wrestled. Fire poker clattering. Lena burst in. Gun drawn. End it. Save. I hesitated. End him. And I'm no better. A killer in borrowed flesh. The twist hit like lightning. As we grappled, echo glitched again. Flashes, not mine. Not his. Mom's voice. Faint. Victor didn't start it. The drive files. Cross-referenced in my mind, Crow wasn't the pioneer. Dad was the victim. No, Crow had initiated. Seduced Mom into the trials. Then framed Victor, forcing the swaps to cover tracks. Dad's betrayal was desperation, saving me from Crow's next target. The Empire? Crow's web. Puppeteering Victor for years. I was the key, my DNA. Pure Harrington. Perfect for elite clients. The swap? To protect me. Hide me in plain sight as him. Truth reversed. My monster was a pawn. Or was it? Dad's eyes, my eyes pleaded. Finish it. For us. But the upload was queued. Finger on enter. Controversial end. I hit send. Leaks flooded the net. Harrington imploding in real time. Stocks cratering. Feds circling. Dad slumped. Body mine convulsing as echo unraveled without maintenance. He died whispering. Proud of you. Kid. Me? Back in my skin weeks later. After emergency reversal. Risky. Botched. But mine. Lena got her brother's justice. I got the ruins. Happy? Tragic? The Empire's ash. But I'm alive. Scarred. Debates rage in op-eds. Was Victor hero or villain? Did I destroy or liberate? I sip coffee in my reclaimed loft, rain streaking the windows, wondering if the ghosts approve. Revenge tastes like freedom and regret. The real gut punch came 2 weeks in. Hold up in Lena's walk-up. Poring over files. A name jumped out. Elena Vasquez. My mother. Dead since I was 12. Heart attack in our Hamptons estate. Official story. Stress from dad's affairs. But the donor log? Echo Trial 001. She discovered his early experiments, back-alley gene hacks on lab rats that went south. Confronted him, like I did. He swapped her into a junkie off the Lower East Side. Let the overdose take her out clean. I bore that lie, the perfect orphan daughter. Toasting mom at galas with a flute of Veuve. All while her soul rotted in a gutter. Rage boiled.